Good morning. Welcome. It is Thursday, January 29th. We are 90 days out from April 29th, and your DTD2 for the week is H and V. You're calling your H and your H. Do you have one friend? Last name Harrison. Call them. Your H's and your V's, and you are texting your T's. And that just helps you make sure that you're cruising through everyone in your database and you're having conversations with them, because we know, here's the rule. You want to do some math and grab a sharp crayon. We know that 6% of the United States will be involved in a transaction themselves personally or right next to somebody involved. So they'll be part of a transaction or closely related to a transaction over the course of the next 12 months. So you take whatever's in your database for that big, fat, ugly number, whether it's in your CRM or it's in your phone still, wherever the big number is, take that number, multiply that by 0.06, and that will tell you how many people in your world, right, whether they are direct, Mets or people you will meet through them by saying, who do you know that I should know? 6% of your database in the next 12 months will be doing something transactionally within real estate, buy, sell, invest. That's why we want to make sure that we are in constant contact, not a sponsor yet, probably won't be, with our people. It's that simple. It's not easy because we get in the way, right? What do we talk about? Brian Holiday, the obstacle is the way. We might be the problem. Like when people are just like, I don't know, I'm trying to get going and just things happen and then stuff happens and then things come up. And like, this is what I want to say. And this is an old quote from like a lot of different horror movies. The call is coming from inside the house. The boogeyman is right behind you. It's you, right? So we gotta own that. We got to know, we just take all of the things out of a way. We have to put ourselves in an environment that is work possible, not work impossible. Like, and depending on how you're wired, it would be different. Some people at college, they could be like, I could be in my dorm room. I could be in my dorm room and all my roommates are out in the common space and they're drinking and screaming and watching UFC, but I'm studying. That won't work for a lot of people. I have to go to the library. And at my school, it was called the O'Neill Library, and it was massive. And you could get lost, and most libraries are. And then there's another small one. The Baptist Library was you felt like you were in Gryffindor. But I knew I had options of places to go to take me out of my social mindset and be like, here is the work in front of me. I will do that now. So we just got to figure out what's gonna put us in a positive workspace. The conversations that we have on a regular basis, and I know it to be true, and it is a truth. The vast percentage of American realtors work from home. I get that. I've got my home office, or I've been doing it for years. I have a massive kitchen island that I set up there, and there's distraction there. Because you ask people who have an office space, and they'll be like, "Oh, I'm way more effective." Not to mention, you're here. It's like a petri dish. Like you're in here, and it's a breeding zone for thought and conversation and collaboration. So my battle cry for you is, if you don't have an office space, consider it, right? And we're loading up. We got that brand new space for ourselves in Dover, and I know that filled up very quickly. But if you're considering that, reach out to Kaylee and the crew and just find out what's available for space, and just consider it. And at the very least, if you're going to be here for the day, because maybe you're coming in today, Sean Amaral, we'll talk about it in a second. He's doing 6 personal perspectives, and that's 11 to 4. If you're getting here a little bit early, just check in with Melanie at the front desk here in Portsmouth and just double check that you can grab either coastal or lakes or mountains, or pop into the Shark Tank, or go sit in the training room before class starts. It's empty right now. There might be a few people moving in because class gets started at 11 o'clock. Any open space, we just got to run it by the front desk. Make sure that you're not jamming somebody up who might have a closing or a meeting with the buyer or a seller. We want you to feel welcome to come to any of the open space all over the campus. There are conference rooms in Meredith. There are spaces available for you to to camp out should you need to in Wolfboro. North Conway's got a phenomenal conference room. It's got a super great casual seating space if you want to just sit there and make phone calls. Just check in with the staff. Make sure you're not jamming anybody else up. And if the space is available, I don't expect you to like sit in there for 8 hours. If you start to hang drapes and get your mail delivered, we're going to have a different conversation. But we want you on campus. We want you in a space where you feel like, hey, you know what? And this is what COVID did. We'll get to that in a second. I'm going to go off on COVID and say that. I'm going to talk about COVID in a second. We want you in a space where it's not just a text or a phone call away, it's a spin your chair away. And I know the mindset, and that there's people that are never going to go back to the office. There's people on Indeed right now looking for their next opportunity, and it has to be remote. And for whatever reason, I can't imagine. Like my wife has the ability to be in the office. She works at a marketing company in Stratford, and she could be in the office or at home, and they give her the ability to go back and forth. And she's got sort of a built schedule. She's at home today. She'll be in the office tomorrow, probably until lunch. And she's wired differently than me. When COVID happened, she's like, oh, we don't have to talk to people. We could just pull up and they'll bring the food out to the car. Chef's kiss. She was so excited. We had a lot of people that joined the industry during that time. And we were doing things hybrid before COVID, but we hammered down during COVID, right? We've got KellerIgnite.com, KellerTV.com. We got all the places that we want to be able to serve you from your couch because our geographic footprint is so large. We don't do that to tell you that it's not important to be in the office as well. And what happened during COVID is teams that used to be in the same space that would be able to be, sitting there thinking about something. You're like, and then you would spin and turn your chair and be like, hey, Nate, you know what would be a great idea? And you would have that collaborative moment in the moment. And you would share thoughts that were both inspirational and aspirational. And you would start to build in the moment. And what happened during COVID is people were like, oh, yeah, he's probably in a meeting. I'll write it down and I'll tell him next Thursday. Or like the next time and like, it's just, it changed a lot of stuff. But the reason we call this a market center and not a main office, it is considered to be, I mean, you guessed it, 5 bonus points for you, the center of the market. Gary tells a story of a shire ages ago, and some of the villagers were telling the bishop, yeah, there's somebody out way on the edge of town. They haven't been coming into town. They haven't been coming in to go to mass or anything like that. So the bishop gets on his horse. He rides way out to the edge of town, and he finds this little hut, and he goes in and he starts talking to the guy who's one of his parishioners who's just fallen out of the community. When he sits with them, and they're sitting by the fire because it's cold and it's hundreds of years ago. It was the only source of heat. And as the bishop is explaining to him like the importance of coming back into the fold, he takes a coal that had fallen out of the fire and he starts to push it back towards the flame. And you can see the coal obviously catch and start to reignite. And the point that Gary was making about telling the story, and the reason I'm sharing it, is you will come here for the energy, for the warmth, for the ignition of the next step of your career. I'm not saying that we can't have brilliant ideas, motivational thoughts, aspirational attitudes on our own. Everything that's great that you're going to do is going to be on your shoulders. You are, as Ryan Holiday would say, the obstacle in the way. My concern is you joined this company. You joined 463. You joined Keller Williams Coastal Lakes and Mountains to be a part of something. And whether you feel like I'm just getting started, I don't have much to offer, or whatever the thought is in your head that's keeping you from being more involved, tapping in more. That's what Gary's talking about in The One Thing. This is my no dust cover because it's been so long, copy of The One Thing. But in the very beginning of the book, he talks about geometric progression, and that one domino pushed over can level a domino 1.5 times its size. And all we have to do is choose to push that first domino. What's the geometric progression for you today? What will cause motion for you today? What will inspire you today and cause you to have aspirational thoughts? I was talking to an agent yesterday, someone who's just coming on board. He's going to do great things. And we got down the road, and I talk about this quite a bit. I do not like I hate the phrase. I'll say it. Hate's a strong word. Well, it has to be used sometimes. I hate the phrase when people say, fake it till you make it. Because to me, it's disingenuous. It's disingenuous. Now, you could say interchangeably, it's just semantics. Well, people don't really say that anymore. You hear people using the term now of imposter syndrome. And I think we need to look at imposter syndrome and that phrase that has been painted with a negative connotation. And we have to strip that back and think about it differently, position it differently in our heads and our hearts. Because I, as your friend and your coach, I would love for you to wake up every day with imposter syndrome. And here's what I mean. I would want you to wake up every day endeavoring to do something that you have no business doing. Something aspirational, something that if you told your friends, I'm doing this today, you told a peer you were doing it today, they would almost borderline laugh at you. Fine. Let them laugh. So I'd love for you to have imposter syndrome today. We should feel like, you know what? I have to go do something well out of bounds so I can pursue a better version of me today, so I can be 1% better. That means we have to take different actions. What will that be for you today? Maybe you're coming to class today. 6 Personal Perspectives is happening today. We've got a Fight Club that's going on, KWFightClub.com, 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock. Get your lead gen in. At 11 o'clock, Sean Amaral, a dear friend of the Market Center, he's from the region. He's down in Rhode Island. He is their productivity coach and their Market Center tech trainer. A wealth of knowledge, a great human being. He's going to come up and deliver the 6 Personal Perspectives. This was like the side salad you got before dinner. Gary had us teaching this before every class for years. And this will help you start to maybe spend some time going inward and doing some work on you and how you think. And what we think about, we bring about. That class is today, 11 to 4. Lunch is happening. If you didn't register, you can sneak in. We'll find a chair for you, I'm sure. He's a great teacher. It'll be well worth your while. 11 to 4 today with Sean Amaral, the 6 Personal Perspectives. The Midday Protocol with me. You're checking in. You're having conversations about your interactions, your appointments, and your contracts. That's today at 1 o'clock, timsoffice.com. And then it is a Tech Thursday with KT Temple. You can join him at 3 o'clock for the Tech Mastermind, 4 o'clock for Tech Onboarding. All of that's available to you because you are here. You're at Keller Williams Coastal Lakes and Mountains. We appreciate being in business with you. We look forward to what you aspire to do differently today. Embrace that imposter syndrome so you can be the best version of yourself. Have a great day.